Welcome back to Scions of the Southland, everyone. My name is Akshay, and joining me from the beautiful campus of Georgia Tech in Atlanta, Georgia, is Mr. Jake Grant. How are you doing today, sir?
It was a week, Akshay. It was a week.
And you know what we say at Georgia Tech about weeks like this?
That I can tell you in one word. Tradition!
Oh,
I love
boy.
Fiddler.
All right. It was
I mean,
really weird how Tech has back-to-back bye weeks, right?
this is our podcast where we talk about Broadway show tunes, right? Because I could go on about that for about an hour and a half.
Broadway show tunes, airports. I think we've talked about
Atlanta
presidential
Wing.
candidates at one point.
Yeah, dude, I trust your opinions on chicken wings more than anyone else.
Oh boy.
You've never
All
had
right,
a
but
bad one.
before we get into our bye-week content, you can, as always, you can find us on at FTRS blog on Twitter, and you can follow the podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcasting app that you choose to use. Like we're mentioning, since there wasn't a game yesterday and there's not one this week, we kind of don't have our usual content to talk about. So we're going to do a couple of things different this week. Mr. Grant, we have a lovely tasting menu of topics to choose from today. Why don't you kick us off with something?
I know you put a lot of hard work into this list of random stuff we're going to talk about, but while you were doing some prep and running to the store, I went out and about and actually went on a little bit of a field trip. So we're going to talk about some food, but I think I went out and bought the best pizza slice in Atlanta.
Oh, if you're
And I'd
gonna
like
if you're gonna go back to Nancy's, I'm not hearing this.
Okay. So I love deep dish pizza, and I love the city of Chicago. But Nancy's Chicago pizza is not real Chicago deep dish. There was Gino's East there for a hot minute, but no, I'm not talking about Nancy's, Akshay. No. It's a chain, but not that big of a chain. Do you know what I'm thinking of?
Chain, but not that big of a chain. It's not Ray's because Ray's is not great.
Ray's is good. New York pizza, not the move.
Uh, Jets. Does Jets even
Nope.
exist in Atlanta?
I don't know what Jets is. Awkward.
Jets is like
Think Powell Mill
Detroit
Road.
style.
Do I ever eat pizza, or do I ever eat at a restaurant that is not on Howell Mill Road? I don't think so.
Blaze.
No. That's a big chain. Oh, I saw
Blaze
Blaze
still
in
good- oh,
Wisconsin over the summer. That was
Yeah, it's
weird.
because
That
LeBron
really-
owns like a 10% stake in that apparently. Very
What
interesting.
doesn't Bronny do these days? I thought he was a taco man though.
No, he tried to trademark Taco Tuesdays, and the USPTO rejected it.
I feel like that'd be bad for his pizza business though.
Yeah, but he's not the majority owner of Blaze. He only owns 10%.
But still, it's not Blaze. They're decent, but no. I'm thinking, it's their whole vibe is the whole like we're gonna renovate something that used to be an auto repair shop and then turn it into a reputable restaurant.
I got nothing. Just spill it.
Wow, this is embarrassing for you. Filini's Pizza.
Oh, Fellini's is not on Howell Mill.
Yes, it is. I just went there.
It's on Ponce.
Oh no, that's why it's a chain. You're thinking of the other one. You're talking about the one on the way to that Indian restaurant, right?
Yeah, but the Indian restaurant, side note, is good. Anyway, yes, Fellini's, okay, fine, it is a chain.
Yes, Fellini's is a chain, and the Fellini's house salad is everything I need in a salad. It has cheese and green olives and onions, perfect salad material. Just kidding. That's tongue in cheek, but it is great salad. And then the Fellini special, cheese, sauce, pepper, onion, black and green olives, pepperoni, sausage, meatball, and extra cheese. Oh, it's freaking fantastic.
I can
I
feel
will
my
not hear otherwise.
cholesterol rising as we speak.
Akshay, you know I don't often compliment things that aren't from Chicago, let alone say that a rival pizza style or brand is good. This is high praise. This is high praise from Jake Grant.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what happened to you this weekend, but maybe not go into that.
Let's not.
Let's
That's
not.
called avoid. Yeah.
Danger zone.
Please, great pizza. If anybody out here on the airwaves has other opinions, feel free to at me on Twitter at FTRScade.
Indeed, FTRScade for sure.
Yeah,
we're doing, but we're doing bi-week power rankings this week. Maybe we'll do a pizza one. Who knows?
Maybe. Perfect for Eater to crib to put on their website. You know.
Oh, that was saucy. That was very, very scandalous.
I mean, but does a good wing have sauce? Like that lemon pepper at JR Crickets doesn't need sauce. It's just the lemon pepper rub.
But is it? But here's the thing: is lemon pepper before they rub it on? That's a sauce, right? So essentially, you're bathing a chicken wing in sauce, roasting it, and then giving more sauce to dip it in.
I wouldn't expect a vegetarian to be the best person to have a podcast about chicken wings with, but so in the show Atlanta, the character, I forget who,
Childish Gambino's character.
Someone goes to JR Crickets and orders lemon pepper wet, and I'd say that's more of a sauce, but like at the time there was no such thing as lemon pepper wet, but thanks to demand caused by the show making the place a reputable wing stop if you are eating your way through Atlanta, demand that they invented a lemon pepper wet. So that makes me think that the lemon pepper dry, I guess, for lack of a better term, is just a rub, you know, and a rub's not a sauce. That's just a bunch of dust in a bowl, right?
Sure. I don't know. My experience with wings, my limited experience with wings is wings that are baked in a sauce and then also slathered in sauce once they come out. That's what fair. I know as a chicken wing.
Yeah, it's got to be hard for you to have these cultural, talks when you've never actually eaten the food, and I respect you for
for trying,
having opinions on things, even when you it's hard, you know. You can't be fully informed.
What were you gonna say? Were you gonna say I respect you for having opinions on these things, even though you're clearly wrong?
Not quite. Even though
no, you were thinking it.
I was thinking it. Like you could never tell me how to cook bacon and me actually take your advice. You know, I just can't do it.
You know what, Mr. Grant? That came in late, but
I think that worked.
Yeah. If I could turn the sound up on the soundboard, I would, but audio issues and all that. Let's see. Let's try it again. I'm a man. I'm 40. Okay, so it's a little delayed. It's fine. Did
you see the satire article on gosh, I can't remember what the site was that said that T. Boone Pickens left Mike Gundy $30 in his will to go get his haircut?
Was it satire or real? Because I can totally see that happening.
I thought it was satire. That's what Reddit tells me it was, but I never did the research on my own, which I guess is the definition of every part of Reddit everywhere. But
did you just read? You just read the link title and then the comments, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Shame.
All
right. Do you want to talk about other sports-related topics other than wings? I see we have here the California bill about paying athletes. That might be spicy territory. Atlanta restaurants, airport power rankings. I don't know.
don't
We
tempt.
have a lot of ground to cover in this 2 weeks of bye that we have to cover.
Absolutely. I mean, we could go all over the map on that, but as somebody who's been to both the Nook and Cypress in the last 24 hours, I feel like get us started on the restaurant thing.
All right, let's start with restaurants. So, I will admit, I have had limited experience with Atlanta restaurants because being vegetarian sort of closes you down to a lot of valid options. But I will say that the two best places to go on a totally normal fall Saturday, much unlike the one that was yesterday, uh, are probably Cypress Street on Sixth and Cypress, and the Nook, which is right off Piedmont Park.
See, Akshay, I kind of have this moral quandary right now. Not so much with the Nook, because it's on 14th and right at the park, but like, why are we telling all these people about Cypress? That's just going to make it packed.
See, here's my philosophy. We spread the gospel. We spread the gospel. It is up to others to listen.
I think that was the message in the sermon at church this morning. So good job. Thanks for making me keep it real.
But I'm serious. So Cyprus is one of the best restaurants I've been to because it is multifaceted. It has a great alcohol selection if you're of legal age, and it has a great food selection regardless of if you're vegetarian, pescatarian, any sort of tarian, or a carnivore. Like you can find basically any food or any food that fits your budget and fits your lifestyle at Cyprus, and the it is arguably the best restaurant in Atlanta for that reason.
I was going to try and sneak in a roast about once you said it was very diverse about how it has everything from light beer to dark beer, but you're totally right. Especially when you talk about age, because I've only been 21 for 2 months now. Yeah,
Don't
about
make
2
don't
months.
make the commentariat feel old now. Come on.
Hey, I can't help that I'm still learning about the places to buy alcohol in Atlanta. But I've thought Cyprus is the move, especially if you're anywhere close to Georgia Tech. Game, gosh, since like freshman year. I don't know. When was the first time we went? That was a long time ago.
March 2018?
17. Had to
Maybe.
be 17. But
I don't know. It was at some point like that.
I don't know. Neither of us were 21 is the point, and you don't eat meat. So to go to a place famous for burgers and beer, and to come away liking it, that's something.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Their black bean burger, top notch.
Pickleback burger, top notch.
I mean, you were always one to get the Virgin Shirley Temple. Or no, it was
Yeah.
Virgin Bloody Mary. Virgin Bloody Mary.
I cannot help it that my family's drink of choice is the I don't want to say it's not universally loved, but it's definitely not universally loved drink that is known as the Bloody Mary. But they only charge me for a tomato juice, so who's really winning at that point,
Well, now you can order actual Bloody Marys. So
This is fair, and I'll shout out our very own Monday morning backup punter on his backing up of the Sweetwater IPA house beer. I think that was Steven.
yes, it was. It was.
So if you're listening to this, anyone at Cypress from the Rumble Seat loves you. All of us go to you
a lot,
and we don't need your sponsorship because we'll gladly keep talking about you no matter what. But if you want to send us,
if you are willing to pay us,
we're
not going to say no.
I'm very local. I can accept for anyone of the 15 of us, but I'm sure me or Carter or Josh or Steven can get Akshay his just reward.
All y'all need to do is ship me one of those Atlanta Brewing Company ciders, and then we're cooking with gas.
Ugh. I almost said I do like cooking. I know that's a lie. I'm not very good at cooking, but setting stuff on fire is decent. Kind of wanted to do that after yesterday, but
no, there was
here
no
we are.
football game yesterday. Remember, There were no football games
yeah,
yesterday. We have 2
no.
buys.
That explains
Speaking of
why I never heard space chords because that's like the thing most commonly associated with defense in football games. But there was neither of those yesterday, so it's okay
oh,
that I didn't hear space chords. Right?
you sure you didn't hear space chords, Mr. Grant? I tried,
You know,
okay?
I think that went well. Not gonna lie, the audio quality came in pretty good here. And for all y'all out there, we definitely just figure this out as we go along. So we're learning. But
You expect us to have
what was
these
I gonna
things
say?
planned? Come on.
Yeah, no. It's 8:50 p.m. on a Sunday night, and I have a systems lab to do still. But
We all know how y'all went through school. We did it ourselves. No one plans anything.
Akshay, you have a diploma now. You're one of them. But no, if I hadn't been the one that sent you that link, I would have guessed that was recorded at like FSU or like the Clemson game my freshman year. Stadium's like packed and everybody's super into it because it's a night game, or like
No.
the Miami game last year or something. But no. That is from the empty stadium warm-ups for a DCI competition for the Blue Devils. And though, if I could bottle the kind of passion that people who are super into drum corps have for drum corps, like, dang, that'd be strong stuff.
Do they support the drum troops?
Ha ha ha.
Okay, that was
Yeah,
funnier in my head.
yeah. I'm sure that's how most things go for
I
you.
also want to note that this video was published on August 14th, 2006. This is arguably this might actually be one of the very first videos on YouTube.
Wow. No wonder the audio quality is so terrible.
Soundboard working out the kinks. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah, no, it's a nice plus. But I don't know, man. If we could be the Blue Devils of college football, I'd be okay with that. But we didn't
Have
have a
you
game yesterday.
considered?
So,
Have you
yeah.
considered that there are another set of Blue Devils in college football?
Yeah, but they're not very good either. So
Ah, that's true. Moving
I was
on.
I,
Let's
I was gonna
see.
follow it up with a Cavaliers reference, but there's another Cavaliers in our division too. So like I can't win. It's okay.
Lots of things can't win. Anyway, excuse me. Let's see. Where do we want to go next? We did Atlanta restaurants. We didn't really cover a ton of ground, but we did
We
Atlanta
we just
restaurants.
we just talked about Cyprus the whole time. If we're gonna give
There's
everyone
no
else a fair shake,
but okay, but like listen, the other restaurants on this list are the Nook, which is a known quantity and very appreciated publicly. Cafe Intermezzo, which is a personal favorite of ours, but we also only go there like what once every 2 months.
no. The only time Cafe Intermezzo can be properly appreciated is after about 9 p.m. when it's pitch black. It looks like the classiest place on earth, and you're just there to get a bunch of cheesecake and some fancy tea or coffee. That is ideal Cafe
Yes.
Intermezzo time.
No, I agree. That's a
Oh,
that's
okay,
a
good.
no, that's like a Monday night or like a Tuesday night when you don't want to do more schoolwork or work in my case, and
Yeah.
you are like, I need something to do that stretches my wallet a little bit and makes me feel good inside. And that's when you go to Cafe Intermezzo.
Well, it feels great until you feel
And
terrible because you ate literally pounds of cheesecake. But yeah, it averages out to a nice, good feeling, I'd say.
it always feels great, and then you get the check at the end is all how I put it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too.
And then also rounding out this list is Cookout, but I only put Cookout on there because we were regulars there.
Yeah, I got asked by a cashier after I came back from not living on campus over the summer why I hadn't been to Cookout in a long time, and that was a sobering moment.
Yeah, there was a point, I think my sophomore spring, I went there probably 3 times a week. That was not good for
That
my
was back.
cholesterol that year.
That was back when our intramural teams were actually good, so we actually had something to celebrate, but that's neither here nor there.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
I mean, other
the
Atlanta restaurants, like we mentioned, JR Crickets. I can't
you,
eat
you
there.
got you got JR's, that's good. Majestic Diner, that's a spot.
Majestic's good. Majestic's a little
Yeah.
expensive, but it's like it's good. It's good for late night.
It's iconic though, you know? It's iconic.
Krispy Kreme isn't really a restaurant, but it's deserving of a mention.
Speaking of, for all of our listeners out there who don't know, so Domino's doesn't exist anymore. It's getting turned into another student apartment building that will probably be just wonderful. But so
Overpriced.
Domino's doesn't exist. So your one like reliable pizza delivery place in town is the Papa John's. But now Papa John's, just like Krispy Kreme, is also owned by Shaquille O'Neal. So really, really an exciting time to be a late night pizza enthusiast on campus.
Yeah, I love that Domino's. When I used to live right next to it, it was great because I could order something, wait about 10 minutes, and then walk over to pick it up. It was fantastic whenever I was super lazy.
Yeah, that's the move. You did have a very convenient apartment for that, and U-House definitely never has any fire drills. And no, there's it. You lived in perfect
Totally not
perfection
on homecoming when we
on
all had
no,
to go to
definitely
sleep.
not at 2 a.m. on homecoming. No, not at all. That never happened.
No, definitely not. Not when you
Yeah.
least expect it.
Yeah, and most need sleep. But yeah, no. Akshay has become a connoisseur of many off-campus apartment buildings in his wanderings. So if you need opinions, that's probably a good place to start.
Wait, I have a sound clip or I have a song clip for this. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. If this will play through the audio, like I think it will. It's coming in crackly. That's disappointing.
What is it?
The Wanderer by Dion.
Wow, that was a surprisingly relevant reference. Good job. I'm proud.
If you know what video game that song was used in ads for, hit us up at FTR Arcade. We'll give you a prize.
Yeah, big prize. Big STEM major prize.
Yeah, econ is a STEM major now. Fun fact.
Yeah, it's quite a time to be alive. Here at Georgia Tech. Also, speaking of what a time to be alive, the Rewinder video on SB Nation about Miracle on Techwood. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Will and them over at the mothership did a great job. We'll have more on that eventually. But
yeah, I think especially how they framed it, and they did leave out especially how they framed it was awesome. I think giving all of that background and the way that they give all that exposition to set up that moment is very well done, and it's very well researched. The one problem I had with this video this time is they didn't show the clip of Roberto Aguayo at the 2013 national championship in the press the pregame press for that, saying if he was faced with a kick six situation that he would make the tackle.
Yeah, that was my one comment too.
It's such a necessary. I know it would have spoiled the moment, especially if you're not like. Obviously, both of us are acutely familiar with that play, and a lot of you are on listening. But if you're not acutely familiar with the play, it'll ruin it for you. Like it'll spoil it for you, and that's not necessarily what Rewinder does when they set all these things up. But it's a necessary contextual element for that entire sequence.
I will say this is a minor quip that they never would have put in. The radio call for the Harrison Butker catch on 4th and 5. I don't know if it was Gowden or whoever the other guy was at the time. That's before my time. Goes Brad Stewart, the true freshman. And every time I've heard Brad Stewart's name since, I think the true freshman. Even last year, like some people be like,
he graduated.
Brad Stewart. It'd be Brad Stewart, the true freshman. I sat behind his parents at the Quick Lane Bowl, and he made a catch, or maybe he was like fair catching a kickoff or something. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I go, the true freshman. And they just started laughing, and they knew exactly what I was talking about. So at least I think they did.
It's an iconic play in Georgia Tech history, and I think it gets lost, and a lot of the details get lost too because of how much of an injury-ridden season that was, and how much of a disappointment that was coming off of 2014. If you take out the injuries to a lot of important position players, I think Tech was down to its 7th string running back at that point in the season. You have a very, very good Paul Johnson team.
I don't know, man. I still thought I was going to Purdue at that point, so you tell me.
We'll have more on this later when the anniversary rolls around. Hopefully, we got a month and a half, I think.
Yeah.
Month and a half.
Like we said, we don't want to spoil it, but we're hoping to have some special features on that. But
all right, cool. Where should we go next?
What's on the list?
Airport power rankings. Braves versus the Cubs, possibly in the NLDS. The FINA lawsuit. The FINA lawsuit that I was texting you about earlier this week. That might not be super relevant to our listeners, but I think it's super interesting. I know you had some thoughts too.
Oh yeah.
And then finally on our list, Major League Soccer's expansion to St. Louis and possibly to Sacramento, and also of most importance to Mr. Grant over here, MLS's Chicago Fire moving back to Soldier Field next season.
I think this is just a backdoor way for you to get me to hate on St. Louis, which is highly, highly accurate.
Well, sometimes I want to start honest discussion about, how profitable or how successful these markets could be for Major League Soccer. And I think St. Louis especially could be especially without the Rams, could be a very good market for professional soccer.
We already know it's not a viable football market. But as a proud Chicagoan, every time I think about St. Louis, I also fortunately remember that we literally didn't have a sewage treatment plant for about 100 years and just sent all of our waste down the river to St. Louis. And that makes my heart warm because I like them. But yeah, I'm very mature, clearly. Very mature. I will say it will give Chicago Fire fans someone to care about, like just to want to beat. And that's kind of nice.
Yeah. And the Fire, like we mentioned earlier, they're also moving back to Soldier Field starting in 2020. Assumedly, they'll have a soccer-specific stadium plan after that. Who knows? There was supposed to be one built at Lincoln Yards or something, and then it got nixed.
Yeah,
so
it was going to be USL for the Ricketts, who you might know from being the Cubs owners. But I don't know. The Fire can't come close to making Soldier Field an intimidating place to play. I assume that St. Louis wouldn't be playing in the Trans World Dome or Edward Jones Dome or Trans World.
They're building their own. They're building their own.
Okay. That's good.
Fun fact, that ownership group in St. Louis is either majority women or all women. So that's interesting. That's an interesting little wrinkle.
Cool. Yeah. I honestly, I guess Virginia McCaskey is a woman. Not I guess. I know she's a woman. But nice little tidbit,
Yeah, I think it's backed by Enterprise, since Enterprise I think is located or headquartered in St. Louis, and a couple of other business owners in the area have thrown their weight behind it. So at the very least, they'll have a lot of money. And I mean
a lot of money in St. Louis terms, but yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it has the opportunity to be super successful. I wonder what it'll be named. That's really my interest as a branding aficionado.
I know you're a founding member of the Atlanta United supporter. I don't know what you are, but you, Mr. Season Ticket Holder man, I think that Atlanta really whiffed when they didn't pick Terminus Legion or something like that.
Oh no, I agree.
And
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I, I don't know. Like Chicago Fire is pretty good. I like it's clever. Haha, I laugh. But like, what's Royal in Salt Lake? What is LAFC and New York FC? That's boring. Like, give me something to work with.
So let me fill in the gaps here. So Real Salt Lake is named after Real Madrid. That they have no agreement between them. Um, it's just, hey, this name sounds soccery. We're gonna use it, and that's how that came to be. Orlando City is much in the same way,
Boring.
but they've chose soccer club instead of football club. Um, New York City FC is owned by the same people as Manchester City FC, so the naming convention is the same. And actually, they're Manchester City. That ownership group owns a couple similarly named teams in a variety of other leagues. So there's like Melbourne City FC, I think, in Australia. There might be something similar in China, but the name isn't coming to me right now. So the you have to appreciate at a certain level their commitment to branding.
That's fair. Gold. Gold. Anyways, money down. Sorry, I
Sounds like you
just
got
have
a
a
really
terrible cough.
nasty cough there.
Yeah, really. Branding, I might be allergic to it. I don't know. I spent too long in a Russell contract.
Oof. That was a
Um,
long fraught relationship, no?
true, but I don't know. I miss my honeycomb helmets. What can I say? Let's see.
Really throwing it back
I
to
guess
FSU 2015 there.
really am. I can't get that out of my head. I watched it 4 times this morning. Nah, not 4, 3. But what was I gonna say? But in terms of like St. Louis and Sacramento as viable markets, like as much as I hate St. Louis as a irrational sports fan, much in the same way one should always hate the Yankees and Patriots and Lakers and I guess if you're not me, the Cowboys. But like I don't know, like it just seems like a better sports town than Sacramento. Like I see hockey going to Seattle, and I'm like, oh yeah. Not in the same way I was like, why the hell are they going to Vegas? I see Sacramento, and I'm like, soccer in Sacramento sounds like the most boring thing you could think of.
I think you also have to add context, right? So Sacramento's had a wildly successful USL. For those that don't know, USL is the second division, and there's no promotion or relegation between the divisions in the United States. But um, they've had a wildly successful USL team for the past 5 or 6 years. And
Okay.
this MLS bid for them has been in construction or in debate for probably the last 2 or 3. And every time a bid has been decided on, Sacramento has been passed over. So you saw Nashville, you saw Miami, St. Louis, Austin.
And
So all of
yeah.
these cities jumped ahead in line, whereas Sacramento, it's seemingly the only thing that they don't have is a $1 billion owner that's willing to finance everything. They have a stadium in place. They have a successful and popular brand and team. It's just they don't have a lot of cash.
Well, again, you know better than me, but I think Sacramento and I think West Coast mirror of I don't know
Charlotte.
Birmingham. Like it just doesn't. I don't get how the Kings exist, but that's neither here nor there. So
Yeah. Part of me thinks that if they didn't get that stadium built or that arena built a couple of years ago, the Sacramento Kings might be the Seattle Supersonics at this point.
you know, I don't know. I don't know if I'd hate that, but professional sports are especially relocation is a fickle mistress. Just ask St. Louis. But yeah.
And Atlanta and the NHL twice. So there's that.
Yeah, that too. I mean, Atlanta did benefit at St. Louis's expense with the Hawks, but
Tomato.
I'm not that the Hawks have done all that much since they got to Atlanta. Anyways,
the Hawks kind of had the Hawks were great. Were a great basketball team in the late '80s and parts of the '90s. The problem is that Michael Jordan exists.
That's not a problem. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if you are a non-Chicago fan, the problem is that Michael Jordan existed, and so anything was held up in comparison to Chicago.
Yeah, six rings are quite the comparison, Not that they've done jack squat since, bar, I guess 2011 and 2012 were good. Oh man, my middle school was obsessed with those teams, but
just destroying Derrick Rose's knee a couple times.
Yeah, that man had a lot of potential. Not really scholarly potential, if you believe his SAT score, but
it had a lot of potential, but not a lot of patella tendon
or patelligence. But that's the
here nor there
problem.
Here nor there, and it's not like Duke is going to get Duke, Kentucky. I forget where he went. Neither of them are going to get affected.
State. He went to Memphis State under Calipari, Josh Pastner's predecessor, at Memphis.
Again, neither here nor there.
We love Calipari. Is this a pro Calipari podcast?
We're Calipari stands on this podcast, I guess.
In terms of the Petrino Calipari beef, we're Calipari.
Is there beef? There's actual beef?
I don't know. They are Kentucky and Louisville. I don't know. There's a lot of weird beef out there in college basketball, and I love the mothership. I love SB Nation YouTube. They definitely made some Calipari beef history videos that I just have seen too long ago to have forgotten. But I don't know. It seems to come with the turf of being Louisville and Kentucky coaches.
Yeah, well, Petrino sucks, he says, as he glances at the Falcons gamecast for today. And Calipari is definitely running a machine.
You're thinking of a different Italian American Louisville head coach with a P sounding and O ending.
No. You mean Pitino. You said Petrino. Yeah. You mean Pitino.
Wow, that was on me. I was about ready to roast him. Man. I didn't even notice that. My apologies.
Yeah, that's why I was curious. I was like, Petrino, yes, he coached at Louisville. Was there beef? Did they overlap? I'm confused.
That would not have been very big time or 404 the culture for me. So I'm glad I didn't say anything.
Yeah, not very on brand.
True. And while I'm stuck in the Louisville mindset and also somewhat the Petrino, I don't know. If you haven't read it, we should throw in the write up for this the curb eye for the straight guy from Every Day Should Be Saturday.
Oh man, that
just needs back. That feels like so long ago, but it was last year.
It was at the end of last year, I think. It was right before the bowl games. It's a great article. I'll see if I can link it in the show notes. It is a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yes, if you like Georgia Tech or hate Louisville, or like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, or I don't know, college football, I don't know. If you want to be happy, go give it a read.
It's worth it. It's very worth it.
I feel like it could hit multiple people out there multiple times in terms of things that pique their interest.
And in multiple ways.
Yeah, Exactly. It's an important time as a Tech fan to find other things that still make you care about college football
It's
and
it's an
probably
important
basketball.
time. It's an important time to, reflect on the way that your life has been so far, and sometimes ask, how did it come to this? And I
You,
think we've all learned a lot.
you cry, you eat some food, and then you hibernate until baseball season or golf season, whichever comes first.
Or in our case, you cry, you talk about food for a while, then you talk about other sports, and then you casually wrap up your podcast.
Wow, that was such a great transition. And here I was about to say, or they could hibernate till swim club season, but that's the
I'm
reason you're in
trying.
charge.
We're working on it. It's all a work in progress. We just have to trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust it.
Do we trust the current process, Akshay? You know the one.
Do we trust the current process? I trust it. I don't like where it's currently at. Well, but I trust it.
Hey, the current process got me a gold and navy and white 404 takeover gold-blooded Waffle House chef's hat yesterday morning, so maybe not all is lost.
Maybe not. Any final thoughts on any of the rambling that we've had today, Mr. Grant?
No, sir. I say no, sir, and I'm about to give you another comment. I'm really glad I didn't watch a football game yesterday.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Can
'cause it
only
would've
go
been
up from
sad.
here. Can only go up from here after the bye week, right?
Honestly, considering the week you and I have had, I sure as hell hope so.
All right. Well, for that guy over there, Mr. Jake Grant in Atlanta, Georgia, and for me, Akshay Schwarn in San Francisco, California, this has been Scions of the Southland. We will see you next week to cover bye week number 2. Have a great week, everyone.